So we got to get going. We got to move. We got a lot of things to do. We're not going to leave later. We got to eat all the food. We got to take home all the things. And we got to get all the inspiration we can. So interestingly enough, when we were walking outside, I was explaining to our keynote mentor that, at MDC, this is culture, right? We got to take the picture. Otherwise, it really didn't happen. And I love this phrase that he said. And he said, someday maybe they'll, I'm going to build off of it, mentor. Someday in history, they'll turn around and they'll say, that was the group. That's the kind of guy he is. Did you get chills? That's what I'm telling you. So I was journaling, I was reflecting, I was getting in my Zen moment a few days ago when I was thinking about mentor coming, because I had to work on getting him here, and then it was like, he's going to be here, and what am I going to say? So with squiggles and cross-outs, it came to me very naturally. So I figured, well, I'll just use it. There are many, many ways that I can say a lot of things about mentor. The visible ways and the invisible ways that I know him. On the visible ways, don't go check out his QR code yet, but just stay with me. On the visible ways, you can go to LinkedIn, and you'll see, mentor and I have a lot in common. I met him starting on my journey here at MDC in this work of change-making. We have both worked with and collaborated with Ashoka Yu. We both have worked at Watson Institute, which is a social innovation, social entrepreneurship boot camp. What's the word that they call it? It's more than a boot camp, but it's an institution that really focuses on building social innovation skills and mindsets and supporting young entrepreneurs that are out there trying to make a big difference in the world. We both have done work with them, and we both have graduated from ASU. Woohoo! Go Sun Devils. This? Okay. Which happened to be coincidence. So we've shared a lot of spaces and a lot of places. But on the invisible side, I want to tell you about his head and his heart. His heart first and his head. There are fewer people, I know a lot of people with big hearts. His is one of the biggest that I know. And I don't get to see him a lot, but I get to watch him a lot. And his brain is one of the most intriguing ones that I get to connect with, because he invites you to think. He invites you with stories, and he invites you in many different ways to challenge your thinking. So I thought the last time I was with him was just a few months ago. He had asked me to be on one of his committees to review a course he has designed for Arizona State University, which is a super cool course. I hope he talks to you about it today. And when we did 5 sessions, and every time I came off those sessions, it was like my day was made. And I thought to myself, the network needs to meet mentor. It's time. He was here in 2018-19, and he got to be with students at the North Campus. We had a changemaker student retreat, and we had about 150 students, and mentor was there and worked. But it's been a long time since he's been here. And then I thought, this group and mentor, you need to meet this group, because there's a lot of co-conspiring that could happen here. So I'm going to give it to him. Have a great time. He's gonna push us. Mentor.
Thank you, Sandra. Folks, it all goes downhill from here. That was way too nice. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to be with you all, and I want to start with this. Thank you for your service. This is not something that we usually say to educators and to change makers, but we should. Because the future that we're building is actually dependent upon how we treat young people today. What we do today with the students, with the young people, is our future. And doing this work, being in this way, is actually one of the biggest services you can do to this planet, especially in this situation, that there's so much polarization, there's all these type of challenges that are happening. This is incredible. So thank you for your service. And thank you for having the guts, the hearts, and the minds to see a future that is different, to see a future that is more bright, a future that we want. Maybe we don't get to enjoy that future, but next generation will. But our commitment is that strong. I want to share with you a quick story because I come from a family of educators, okay? My grandmother was the first Albanian teacher in Kosovo, like one of the first generation. So before her, nobody knew how to read and write. So that generation, she represented that generation of people. My father was a professor who brought the first computer in Kosovo, right? He had to travel all the way from Germany, grab a huge computer back then, and brought it so that students can learn the new technologies and actually be up with times. My sisters, one of them a principal, music teacher, the other one entrepreneur, but for teaching and education. And my mom was a teacher for 44 years. 44 years. And 8 of those years were without salary. Yeah. Eight years without salary, because what was happening in Kosovo during that time, the Serbian regime that was in control of the country, they decided that we need to speak Serbian, even though we were 85% Albanians there. They just made that decision that from now on, you either teach in Albanian or you're out of your job, because it was a public thing. Education still is public. So those teachers decided to not change how they teach. They wanted to keep our language, to keep our identity, and to dream our collective vision. So they got to organize and teach in Albanian, but not in schools, but in homes, in garages, in basements. Professors started doing the same, and the regime could not stop this. I remember growing up where people would come, students would come, like always hit the bell, and I would go down there like, oh, here's my homework. Like, people would come to turn in the homework in our home. Homework. Huh? So it was like that. And that also, when I went to school, the first and second year of my life was going into learning into basements. And one thing about Kosovo that is unlike Miami, it's much colder, my friends. I remember being in a second grade, and when the teacher was talking or sharing, I was taking notes, but my hand was so cold, so I started learning how to write with my left hand, so I could put the glove here and just warm it up a little bit. And this is me in second grade, okay? So we grew up in this type of situation. And after 8 years of them failing to stop the education of the new generations that was happening there, the regime turned to violence. And violence led to their failure. Not the failure just of their efforts to stop the teachers and the resistance, but failure as a regime. Because that's the nature of violence, my friends. It is short-lived, but painful. Those teachers, my parents and so many others, we look at them today as heroes. They were the heroes, and not just because they resisted and they continued teaching. Okay? It wasn't just that. They're the heroes because they embodied something. They led by example. When there was fear, they had courage. When there was pain, they had compassion. When they fell down, when things didn't go their plan, they were resilient. Those were the examples that the regime could not do anything against. It was their determination and commitment to be examples in these tough times. That's why there are heroes today. And any change that we want to have in society, immediately people go to try to change the education. That was very clear. Whether you want to do good like you all, or whether there is a regime like I'm sharing, they go after education. Because it is in our brains and hearts that the future is born. And today, my friends, today, this world faces a new regime. And I'm not talking about necessarily a political regime here. I'm talking about a regime that defines success in an old way, defines success for young people as just numbers, not human beings, that sees young people as just empty vehicles that need to be stuffed with information. A regime that informs their minds but doesn't warm their hearts. Preps them, a whole system of education to prep them to go to university, but not to support them for the universe. And this is costing us. This is costing us because 1 in 5 young people in the United States, according to CDC, seriously contemplates suicide. 40% report that they are extremely sad most of the time. This, when a young person decides to take their own life, this says that something in society is terribly wrong. Kids supposed to be joyful. Kids supposed to run around, play, have fun, and this is what this regime has created. And my friends, when I see all of you here and the work that you all are doing, this is the future. This changemaker education thing is not just a nice to have. It is an answer. It is a resistance. It is a movement. So you're not alone into this. You're not alone because today we have all the resources in the world to solve all the problems. Do you agree with me on this? We have the money, we have the people, we have the technology. All of these things exist, but what's missing? Why are we not doing this? The heart is missing. The heart is what creates inclusion. The heart is where compassion lives. That's what's missing. We might ask the question, how do we educate the heart now? Huh? And you all have been doing this forever and so well. And science is actually pretty clear with how do we educate the heart. It says that an example for compassion. You know how we learn compassion? When we cry as babies and somebody picks us up. It could be mother, father, neighbor, aunt, grandmother, grandfather. Somebody picks you up. And in that moment, they look at you and they say, you as a baby, in that moment, you got to receive a transmission. And that transmission starts forming your brain, and then you start learning, that feels good, and that's in me now. So it's transmitted. When we cry, somebody picks us up. When we fall, this is where we learn. And it's not that just as kids, even here, right? So many people in this room, I met a couple of you all, and the energy is like, oh gosh, can I get a hug? You know? And this is incredible. This is such a privilege and so much luck to actually have that type of energy around that you can learn and you can transmit. And the beauty of it is that just like the life of the candle doesn't dim if you light other lights, just the light becomes brighter. The candle's life is still lighting, so together we just combine the lights, and that's so beautiful and so needed. You're with me on this? Have you seen Sandra, Dr. Lafour? Isn't she like an example of this? Right? Yeah. So kind, so loving. Her eyes are glimmering. Every time I meet her, I'm like, oh gosh, yes, anything you want. I'm there. Are you up for a quick activity? So, in science, there's some really interesting developments happening from the University of Madison, Wisconsin, at the Center of Healthy Minds. They have done something really fascinating that I'd like for us to play with. What they've seen is that the brain has a physical form, and it's constantly changing based on the experiences that we have. So, you meet a crush or you have your first kiss, your brain changes. You fail an exam, brain changes. You graduate, physically changes. Experience something, eat something. All these things, if our skulls were transparent, everybody would have a different shape of the brain. And they've asked the question, what makes a healthy brain? What makes a brain that gives back? And you know what was the fastest way to rewire our brains? The fastest and most effective way to rewire is gratitude. Right? Are you with me on this? Yes. So let's do a quick activity, all right? So whatever you are, can you stay grounded? Find a position that you feel comfortable. And I want to invite you to take a deep breath from the nose, okay? Just wow, it feels good to take a deep breath. Let's do one more, huh? Awesome. Let's do one more, third one, the charm. Notice what's happening in your thoughts. If you want, you can also close your eyes if you feel comfortable with it. Just notice what's happening in your mind. Perhaps see if you can see what your next thought is going to be. If you can just observe, what is my next thought going to be? And notice that as you are observing, there's a bit of a silence in the mind. There's a distance with all the thoughts because you're observing. And if the thoughts come, that's all right. Keep noticing them. Keep witnessing them. And listen to the sounds here. You can listen to the sound of my voice, to that music in the back, and observe your thoughts. And then listen also to the silence that is behind all of this. Now, take a small deep breath and send it to your heart, okay? You can put both of your hands in your heart. And I invite you to think of one person in your life who you love. Think of another person who you cherish and want to see them. Think of another person who has contributed for you to be who you are today. Think of another person. One more person in your life. And one more. And notice how your heart, there's a wave of gratitude. And hold that. Bring that into your being. And I'll invite you to open your eyes and in silence just maybe gaze around at your circle. Make eye contact with people. And just send them your gratitude for them being here. In silence. Notice the shift. There's a small shift. Even the room, there's some magic to it. So, this quality, we don't give this time. This is not important, is it? Being grateful for something should be part of learning, should be a space for us to do this. Because if we're just learning from one place to another, to another, to another, we need some space to connect with our hearts. The activity earlier, I love the one, and what else? How about and making friends? And being grateful, and living a meaningful life. This is what changemaker education is about, right? Are you with me on this? This is what this is about. Because when Gandhi said, be the change, he didn't just say do the change, huh? Yeah, be the change you wish to see. Being requires us to pause a little bit. With Massimo, we were talking earlier how technology is all these things and like we're blaming the technology, the social media taking our lives, all these things. Yes, and are we in charge of this one or not? So what does it look like to be the change? What does it look like? So I'm going to have this microphone and pass it around. And I want to ask you one question. The question is this. How many of you have a teacher, a professor, a mentor, anyone who has inspired you to be who you are today? Anybody has a teacher there? Wow. All right, so I'm going to pass this around. I'll start with you. Introduce yourself and maybe share what did this teacher do to you so that you're who you are today.
So good morning, morning everyone. My name is Crystal Lewis from the North Campus. Whoop, whoop. My peeps back there. I'm happy to be with you all. Thank you for being here, mentors. So that person really showed me that I could be here because they were the example and they were the representation. They looked like me. They came from a similar community background. They shared that with me. And so I felt seen in them in higher education. So it just made me feel like there's someone like me there, and so therefore I can be that too.
What was it about them that you felt? Was it Representation, yes, but was there, like, did you have interactions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
So she was my advisor, but she was also a professor. And she was compassionate, but also had high expectations of us. And by us, I mean, I was a part of the Black Student Union. And she, Dr. Glenn, well, I just said her name, but she don't play, you know? So she was very clear that she expected great things of us. But in her expectation, she also was the example. And that's what I really admired, that she wasn't just talking at us and telling us what we should do and how we should be and how we should act, because we were in a world where we needed to be better and faster and, you know, she was also modeling the way for us too. Like, she really cared about us. And we knew it. We could feel it. She wasn't just saying that. We could feel it.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's do one more. Someone there? Oh, there? Sure. Let's go there. Perfect. Thank you.
Am I allowed to say the name or no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Daisy, and I'd like to give a big, big thanks to Christina Sudeth right over there. I think she's one of the biggest reasons I've grown up and I've blossomed into a beautiful flower. And I just want to give a big thanks to her for being so compassionate and understanding and a great leader.
Amazing. Thank you. Good job, Christina. Let's go. Thank you. Let's do one more. Right here. Here, you have... Yep.
Oh, thank you. So actually, it's a professor, Dr. Michael Lenigan, that I'm sure a lot of you know. So, and he's still a professor here at the college. As most of you know, I dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old, and I started at Miami-Dade College as a student. And Dr. Lenigan was one of my first professors. And I asked him for a letter of recommendation to join SGA. And he called me a scholar. And I never saw myself as a scholar. I saw myself as a lot of other things. Others had called me a lot of different things, but never a scholar. So when someone that I respected so much gave me that title, everything shifted. I felt that I mattered, I belonged, I could. And to this day, I look at him and he tells me, call me Michael, and I'm not able to do that. And then he gave me my first letter of recommendation for grad school, when I started my PhD, for my first full-time job. And the words just kept on getting better and better. So talk about imposter syndrome and deconstructing those internal battles and titles and stigmas that we have. All you need is someone to say, you matter, you belong, and something magical happens when that does so. To this day, whenever I see him, I just tell him, thank you for seeing me in ways that I never saw myself, and thank you for believing in me when I didn't. So thank you.
Amazing. Do you notice something in these stories? How many of these happened because of curriculum? Usually, these things have happened in between things, right? It has happened between classrooms, after classroom, but you all here are challenging that. This is what changemaker education is about, is to recreate those inside the classroom. Recreate, design for these moments, because these moments make us who we are. These are the moments that actually spark something in us, something that is just so incredible, so needed. These are the moments that we remember. It's not how much, coal China has. It's not what date did the president become president. It is the sparks that light something us up. We have to design for these. This is changemaker education. Doesn't come from information. Because if they tell you like, hey, you should be this person, you should do that. No. They're first of all embodying something, and then they're looking at you, and then they're seeing your potential. They're inviting that potential in. They're refusing to believe the limited you. They are challenging you in that way. And my friends, in today's time, this is not just a good thing to have or a holy thing like, oh, you know, all of us compassionate, loving beings, right? This is actually important for the future of work. And this is an incredible truth that very little is being talked about. Everybody's talking about iPhones, but not the I. People want to have AI solve everything, but how about the people who are using it? What are we doing for that? At Arizona State University, I've seen employers now go and ask students, what can you do that AI can't? And I've seen all of education institutions freeze up a little bit. Because in general, this system has been designed for you to learn information and memorize them and learn them and do these things. But now AI can do that, and much faster than you. If somebody invents a new way to do surgery in Australia, goes to the database, boom, AI knows. If you're a doctor, then you'll have to wait and then read the article being published, this and that, for you to learn that information. So what can you do that AI can't? This is the question that students are facing now, young people are facing. And the answer is being. We can watch at sunset. We can understand the dynamics of the room when we're there. We can include others as part of who we are. We can have empathy. We can have a choice on how we use the tools and technologies. We are conscious. All these things is what's going to make a difference. Because in a job environment, they need more humans, not more technology. They're looking to hire people that know how to navigate the team dynamics. I'm being hired left and right these days. I work as also a facilitator because they're like, yeah, we have all this investment in technology, but our team is not getting along. Or there's no collaboration, no healthy communication. And it's like, interesting. So now we're investing in the I. And changemaker education is not just a fun thing, a compassionate thing. It is the right thing to meet the times. Because we need people who have a vision for a better world. We need people who include others and brothers and sisters. And at Arizona State University, they have made a really big statement that I'd like to share with you all. At the center of this 200,000 student university, they've built this $300 million cactus-looking building. It looks like a cactus because, it's like biomimicry. It's creating shade at the center. Really fascinating. And in that, they're calling it the Global Futures Lab. And there are businesses, there are researchers, there's professors, there's NGOs, government, even religions I've seen there, and students. And together, they're addressing the challenges in the world. Together, they're coming so that students, while they're learning, they're actually going and addressing challenges. They've put all of their efforts into making sure that this is the next thing. So you're not alone, my friends. With all this incredible work that you're doing, you're not alone. There's a movement happening. Sandra mentioned about this course that she helped me build. The course is called Being the Change. And it's initially when I went to talk to the team there, I said, hey, I have an idea about the course. They said, being the change? They said, yeah. And they were like, are students going to launch ventures? I said, no. Are students going to volunteer? I said, no. What are they going to do? I said, it's not doing the change. It's being the change. They're like, wait, what? I said, being is the soil. Being is the water. Being is the sunlight. Doing is the fruit. And if we want just the fruit without the soil and the water and all of this, we're going to have students and people who are empowered, but use that power to divide rather than unite. Use that power to exclude and use that power to dominate. That is why being the change is the future. And friends, right here, all of you, this is what we're practicing. This is what we're learning. And this is what you're becoming, not just individual examples of this, but as a whole institution, as a whole team. This is just the beginning. And that photo, people are going to look back at that. In these turbulent times where so much polarization, climate change issues, political issues, racism, this, all these things that are happening, this is the defining moment. President Obama said this thing, said, you are the leaders we have been waiting for. Why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? To close out, my friends, I want to do a quick activity with you all. I want you to grab a piece of paper, a phone, or whatever you have, something close. And I invite you to write what are 3 qualities of a person who embodies being the change. Whatever that is. 3 things. Not what your parents said, not what your teacher said, nobody's getting grades here. Not society, you. To you, what are these 3 qualities that a change maker has? Okay? 3 qualities. I see some of you using ChatGPT. Come on. I'm kidding. I'm joking. 30 more seconds. You don't need to submit an essay, everybody. 3 qualities. I know you have to dig a little bit into the heart. That's good. Dig. 30 more seconds. Are we ready? All right. Shout them out. Let's hear. What do you have? Caring. Curious. Empathy. Passionate. Resilience. Determination. Open-minded. Visionary. Humility. Proactive. Kind. Courage. Growth mindset. Hope. Self-awareness. Compassionate. Inspirational. Generous. Patience. Yes. Humility. Curiosity. Friends. Relentless. I love that. Here's the thing, friends. Sometimes in life, we need luck. We need luck to graduate, luck to get to college, luck to meet the right people, luck to be the next Usain Bolt, luck to be the next Harry Potter. We need luck sometimes for the external situations to align. But what we don't need luck for is for us to embody those 3 things that you wrote. You don't need luck to be those 3 things, my friends. That starts as a commitment that we make to ourselves, but also to the future generations, because they're listening to what kind of people are we now. Are you with me? Shall we make this happen? That's all? Can we make this happen? I want to hear it. Everybody in this campus needs to hear a big yes, okay? Are we ready to make this happen? Yes! That's right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
All right. Did you cry? I cried. I always cry. Whew, he was as good as I thought he was going to be.